Get ready. We are going over all of the pop culture scandals and crime from the weekend. I'm Lauren Conlon of Los Angeles Magazine. Go ahead and give us a like or a subscribe if you don't already, because I will be doing these videos daily and you definitely want to get the alerts so you don't miss them. So let's start with the sentencing of Sean Diddy Combs. He was sentenced in a Manhattan federal courtroom on Friday, October 3rd. I was there. You can catch my coverage actually right here on the YouTube channel. There are a few videos that I did, I believe 2. And also you can catch my coverage on the website, lamag.com. I went into a bit more detail with these articles, but something that I led with on these articles is something that I didn't really see any other reporters really focus on or talk about. And that's totally fine. This just, I guess, this stuck out to me, if you will. And this was when Diddy was speaking to the judge and he was going through his whole speech, which you can tell that he was remorseful. However you feel about him, you could say, well, he's sorry he got caught, this or that. Fine, that's fine. He was remorseful in his words, in his speech, if you were going to analyze his speech pattern. I mean, he owned up to everything. He said that because of my actions, this is where I am in life right now. I lost my businesses. I lost the ability to take care of my family, my mom, everything. And so what he said that stuck with me was, quote, I hate myself right now. I'm just watching this man that I grew up, listening to his music, watching, making the band. I mean, this was my generation. This was my era. So to see this guy say, I hate myself right now, sit there, be ashamed, wear clothes that don't fit him. When I again watched him on red carpets, I mean, it's wild. The fall from grace. So it was a very long, emotional day. Mia, who was a government witness and she was a former assistant of Sean Combs, she was set to speak and she was set to sort of give a victim impact statement. She had written one as well. But the prosecution announced at the beginning of the day that she wouldn't be doing that because she kind of felt bullied by the defense. Their response, their memo that was posted to the docket, they were accused of bullying, not citing any case law, and just being a little inappropriate. And they were kind of admonished by the judge. And they said, okay, we get it. They didn't, they knew better than to say anything else after that. So Christy Slavic, who it was the second chair to Maureen Comey. Many of you know Maureen Comey was fired after the verdict came back, or I guess maybe it was a month or so after. But Christy Slavic kind of took over here as the lead prosecutor, and she started off sentencing by saying today is about justice. It's about justice for the public. And she went into all of the details of why she believed that Sean Combs deserves 11 years in prison. And that turned out to be an overreach per the judge, but also the defense requesting 14 months, time served, basically. The judge also said, yeah, that's not happening either. And we all know that he wound up, he ended up giving Diddy 50 months in prison, 4 years, 2 months, and this quote unquote acquitted conduct. And the acquitted conduct goes to the violence, the fact that we saw him brutalize Cassie Ventura. And the fact that he was convicted of the Mann Act, and the Mann Act is very controversial. It's been called just very, very racist, very outdated. And most defendants don't get that much time, I would say, on Mann Act or a Mann Act conviction alone. Patrick Driscoll, one of Diddy's appellate lawyers, really did a great job in, telling us about these other cases that were similar to Diddy's and how they got a much lesser sentence. And Christy Slavic, she was tasked with finding some case law as well. And she even kind of admitted it was tough to find something because this case, Diddy's case, was very, very unique. So the case law that she cited was it was the case of Dylan Johnson, where he did appear to love bomb and coerce these women that he was in a relationship with, but he did this to uh, sort of convince them to engage in this prostitution conspiracy ring where he was kind of making money. And obviously Diddy was not a pimp. They had said this many times. He's not a pimp, or the defense said this many times. But it turns out this Dylan Johnson case, he previously served 8 years in Cuba on other S crimes. And you know what I'm saying? I'm saying S for the algorithm here. So it was kind of identified that it wasn't a great case because Diddy doesn't have any prior offenses. So his, criminal offense level was a 1. So it was tough to find cases that were comparable. And I guess at the end of the day, after the sentencing, this is why Mark Agnifilo chose to say to the public, it was during a press conference outside of the courthouse, he kind of said, yeah, we're appealing this because the judge acted like a 13th juror, if you will. And, the judge said, I pretty much made my decision in sentencing based on the brutality of these women. And, the judge, after he, or I guess when he was going through everything and he was delivering the sentencing, he said, to Cassie and Jane, he said, we heard you. I heard you. I'm proud of you, basically, for coming forward. And he said, to Diddy, you and all of us in the courtroom, you have the power to help stop the abuse here. And so I think he was really making a statement. What else did he say? Yeah, he said, you were not just speaking to the jury, you were speaking to everyone when you came forward and said all of this. And he said, even if you were a victim, you don't have to be. And then he spoke to Diddy and his family, and he said, you will get through this. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. And, it was that point that I was looking over at Diddy and I could tell he wasn't really listening anymore. I think he kind of zoned out, and he knew that, yeah, his life is not about to get any easier. Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe it would, because MDC really is notoriously the worst prison. And actually, in the defense's sentencing memo, they also cited that some SDNY judge, that's Southern District of New York, some of those judges actually take the awful conditions at MDC into consideration when sentencing, because, I mean, they've actually called it a third world country prison. You have to boil water before using it. There's no sunlight. There's no fresh air. Maybe Diddy will be sent to a prison that's a little bit better than MDC, a step up from this. But if you do want some more information on that, you should check out my latest article, which I feature a former associate warden from the MDC, Dr. Dwayne Hendricks, and also a prison consultant named Craig Rothfeld, who actually works right now for Luigi Mangione and also Harvey Weinstein. So they give some advice on what they think is going to happen. I mean, this is basically Diddy will be sent to a prison based on the scoring that he gets from the Bureau of Prisons. I mean, the fact that he is not a huge criminal offender means he most likely will go to a lower security facility, and most likely also within 500 miles. But read the article. Dr. Dwayne Hendricks also really heeds a warning. He kind of says, look, Diddy's celebrity status makes him a target, specifically for extortion. I mean, yes, different types of abuse, of course, but it's pretty well known that he's got money and people will want that. And Dr. Hendricks also says that Diddy should really think about protection, either formal or informal. So, take that for what it is. But I thought, overall, his attorneys did such a good job during the trial that it was a little strange to see the day kind of drag. And it was sort of because of them. They really all took their time, with their speeches. I mean, Nicole Westmoreland spoke, Brian Steele, Xavier Donaldson, Patrick Driscoll, Mark Agnifilo, and then there was a reverend and someone from the reentry program, all of Diddy's kids, Diddy himself. And, you could tell the judge was being patient when they were pushing for the reverend. And Xavier Donaldson's like, don't worry, he'll be brief. And I'm thinking to myself, I go to church. No pastors or priests are ever brief. And I was right. This guy wasn't brief. But anyway, it was an emotional day. But I feel like Diddy might only serve maybe 2 years because of the fact that he will get time served right now. That's about 13 months. And a lot of the time with these federal sentences, they really, they'll serve 85% because they'll get out on good behavior, whatever. There's no parole with federal sentences, but still. So he might only do 2 months. We'll see. I will be on top of this. I will keep track of any appeals. But I want to also pivot to what happened over the weekend with Mark Sanchez. I mean, that is crazy. So ex-quarterback Mark Sanchez, first we get this headline that he was stabbed and he's in the hospital. And then later we find out, and this is in Indianapolis, Indiana, then we find out that he was arrested. So, you're like, wait, what? So he was charged early Sunday morning in Indianapolis on misdemeanor criminal charges. And I was actually surprised that these are misdemeanors, but battery resulting in injury, public intoxication, and unlawful entry of a motor vehicle for his alleged role in this altercation with a 69-year-old man. So according to court docs, the cops were called to Low Miller's Pub and Eatery on West Washington Street in Indianapolis around 12:35 a.m. This is obviously Saturday night into Sunday morning. And when officers arrived, they found Mark Sanchez suffering from several stab wounds to his upper torso. And then they found another man in a nearby alley with cuts to his face, cuts everywhere. And sorry, sometimes my face just looks like I'm smiling, but I'm not smiling. I just have an upbeat face. So this 69-year-old man was between jobs. He had 2 jobs. He had a job at the Westin Hotel and the Marriott downtown. And apparently he's collecting used cooking oil as part of his job. I didn't look too much into this, but yeah, investigators, they reviewed hotel surveillance footage, which, appeared to show Mark Sanchez jogging into the alley and approaching this man's box truck. And the two can kind of be seen talking before the interaction turned physical. And according to the probable cause affidavit, Mark Sanchez allegedly opened the driver's door of the truck and then climbed inside despite being told to leave. The 69-year-old man, told detectives that Sanchez appeared really intoxicated and smelled of alcohol and claimed to have spoken to the hotel manager who said the truck was not supposed to be there. So when this guy, the worker, tried to call a supervisor, Sanchez allegedly blocked him, and then this fight broke out. So this struggle is kind of by this large dumpster. And detectives say that Mark Sanchez allegedly threw the victim, the man, towards the dumpster, and the fight broke out between them. And the 69-year-old guy, the victim here, allegedly used pepper spray to defend himself. But when Sanchez kind of didn't stop fighting him, he said he thought to himself, or the guy thought to himself, wow, he's trying to kill me. So he pulled out a knife to defend himself, and he stabbed Sanchez several times in self-defense. And you can see this photo is surfacing many outlets. It originated from Fox 59, but this victim, this guy, this old man in the hospital, and he does not look good at all. So we will keep an eye on that as well. And also we will be following all of the updates in the Celeste Rivas Hernandez case as well. And she was supposed to have a service over the weekend. To my knowledge, that did not happen. And I checked the where her body was released from, which is like the Queen of Mortuary funeral home in California. I didn't see anything on the website, but I will check. That poor sweet girl deserves a beautiful send-off. Again, I will have another update for you tomorrow on all of the pop culture, celebrity scandals, crime, news, all of the above. In the meantime, go ahead and like and subscribe. And so happy you're here. Thanks, everyone, and have a great day.